Hello, this is the final demonstration of the ClueLess game project for Team Tau. Our team consists of Matt Oler, Chris Melanson, and Aaron Mashinoff. I will be demonstrating our game by playing a two-person game for you. For convenience, I will be playing both characters. Hence, you will see two GUIs, one for each character in the game. As you can see in the bottom left terminal, the server is already running and listening for clients. I will start up a new character by running a client in the bottom right window. When the resulting GUI appears, it asks us to enter the desired number of players that we want to be playing in our game. As already stated, I shall enter 2. The GUI then prompts us to choose a character. I shall choose Colonel Mustard for player 1. Okay, since no other player has yet asked to join or to play in a two-player game, the Colonel Mustard player is told that he must wait, as can be seen by the text box that appears in the text box to the right side of the Colonel Mustard's terminal. A message is also shown telling the Colonel how many more players he is waiting on, in this case, one more player. I shall now start a second character in the top left terminal. Similar to before, I enter 2 for the desired number of players, and this time I'm going to choose Miss Scarlet to play the second character. Okay, now that we've got 2 players, we're now ready to play a game. The game is officially started. But before I go ahead and go through a game, let me take a minute or two just to explain the general layout of our board here, of the GUI. So first look at the top left GUI. This is Miss Scarlet's GUI, and the way you could tell is that her picture is listed in the bottom left down over here. Picture of Miss Scarlet. On the bottom right, you can see her laid out the cards that she was initially dealt. At the top left is a listing of all the cards that Miss Scarlet has been able to rule out. At present, an X is present only for those cards that were initially dealt to her. However, as the game progresses and Miss Scarlet is able to rule out additional cards, an X will appear by those ruled out cards as well. In the center of the GUI is a map of all the rooms, hallways, and secret passages in the game. Each character's current position is denoted by a marker of the same color as the character. Hence, here we see that Miss Scarlet starts the game in the hallway between the hall and the lounge, whereas Colonel Mustard, he starts the game in the hallway between the lounge and the dining room. Navigation throughout the map is performed via the arrow direction buttons located in the bottom middle of the GUI. Directly adjacent to the navigation buttons are 2 additional buttons allowing a player to respectively use a secret passage or make an accusation. Note that the GUI restricts a player only to his or her valid moves by enabling only those buttons corresponding to valid moves. Currently, Miss Scarlet is allowed to do only 3 possible things. She can move to the left into the hall, she can move to the right into the lounge, or she can make an accusation. As Miss Scarlet advances through different rooms, different buttons will be enabled in order to show her what she is allowed to do. The final GUI aspect of note is the scrolling text box located in the top right of the GUI. This text box relays all messages of note to a particular character. Miss Scarlet's text box tells her that the game has officially begun, and then lists all of the cards that were dealt to her. Colonel Mustard's text box shows analogous information for him. Miss Scarlet's text box is also indicating that it is currently her turn, and letting her know that the game is waiting for her to move. So at this point, I shall now go ahead and play through an example ClueLess game. So we'll start with Miss Scarlet. She's the first player. So first she'll move into the lounge. Okay, and looking at her cards, why doesn't she go ahead and pick Colonel Mustard? Go ahead and make a suggestion of Colonel Mustard with, let's say, a candlestick, and it will be in the lounge. Okay, now at this point, after she's made her suggestion, a little window will pop up on Colonel Mustard's GUI, and this one now gives him a chance to refute her suggestion. So it lists any and all cards that he could refute her suggestion with. In this case, let's pick Colonel Mustard, and go ahead and click OK. So back over on Miss Scarlet's GUI, you'll notice that an X in the top left has appeared under the suspects right next to Colonel Mustard. So her X's are dynamically updating every time she is able to rule out an additional card. Okay, her turn's now over, so let's go to Colonel Mustard. Colonel Mustard note got transported to the lounge when Miss Scarlet accused him. So now he's in the lounge, so he's going to use a secret passage, go to the conservatory. Now that he's in a room, he's allowed to make a suggestion. So why doesn't he pick, let's see, he'll pick Mrs. Peacock with, let's see, with a knife, and it will be in the conservatory. So now back over on Miss Scarlet's GUI, a little window appears, and it lets her now refute his suggestion. The only way she can refute it is with a knife, so she goes ahead and refutes it. And over here, back on Colonel Mustard's GUI, you'll see that the knife box in the top left has now got an X into it, and as well as a message was sent to Colonel Mustard's GUI letting him know that the knife was indeed the card that his suggestion was refuted with. So now we're back to let's see. Now we're back to Miss Scarlet. So let's see. Let's have her head to the hall. So she goes and heads to the hall. Colonel Mustard's going to go ahead and head north, heading up to the library. We're back to Miss Scarlet. She's going to head into the hall. Now that she's in a room, she can make a suggestion. How about Professor Plum with a wrench? And this will be in the hall. Back over on Colonel Mustard's GUI, a little window pops up. He can now refute. He's going to refute with the wrench. He goes ahead and does so. A little X appears in Miss Scarlet's GUI, letting her know that the wrench was the one that refuted her suggestion. So now we're back to Colonel Mustard. Let's see here. So Colonel Mustard, let's send him north into the library. So he's going to go ahead and, let's see, how about he does, let's say Mrs. Peacock, with a lead pipe, and this will be in the library because that's what he's in. Now a chance for Miss Scarlet to refute, but she has none of those cards, so she clicks OK, and a message is sent back to Colonel Mustard letting him specifically know nobody could refute. But his suggestion was not the solution because he's standing in the library and he has a library card. So now we're back to Miss Scarlet. Let's send her towards the study. Let's see, back to Colonel Mustard. Let's see here, what could we do with him? Let's send him up to the study as well. Miss Scarlet is now in the study with her next move. She's going to pick Mrs. Peacock with a, let's say, lead pipe, and it will be in the study. A GUI pops up for for Colonel Mustard to refute. He has nothing to refute. So let's see, maybe a message is then sent back to Miss Scarlet saying nobody can refute the suggestion. Okay. And now we get to Colonel Mustard again. So he's going to go north now. So he's now in the study. And let's say he goes ahead and picks, let's see, Mrs. Peacock with a, let's say, lead pipe in the study. So a chance to refute pops up on Miss Scarlet's, but she cannot refute. She has none of those cards, so she clicks it, and a little window then would pop back up for Colonel Mustard saying no one can refute your suggestion. Notice that I believe Colonel Mustard's suggestion then is probably the correct one, because he chose Mrs. Peacock, which he doesn't have, and he chose a lead pipe, which he doesn't have, and he's in the study, and he doesn't have that either, and Miss Scarlet can't refute any of that. So on his next turn, Colonel Mustard is probably going to go ahead and accuse. So let's see here. Let's send Miss Scarlet down. Okay, now we're back to Colonel Mustard. Colonel Mustard now, like I said, is going to accuse. So he's going to pick Mrs. Peacock with a lead pipe, and it will be in the study. Oh, congratulations. Colonel Mustard was correct. A window pops up letting him know. An additional window pops up for Miss Scarlet letting her know. Thank you very much. That was our presentation.